Welcome back to the Healed Process podcast, where we explore the journey to emotional freedom, soul alignment, and self empowerment. I'm Sarah Sparks, and in today's episode, we're talking about something that shapes so much of who we are, our core wounds. We'll be diving into what core wounds are, how to identify them, and why facing them is key to creating a life of true freedom and fulfillment. Core wounds are deep-seated emotional injuries, often stemming from childhood experiences, trauma, or messages we internalize about ourselves over time. This episode is not about blaming where those core wounds came from, but identifying what are core wounds, how core wounds affect our lives, a story from a client, and identifying your core wounds and how we can move forward. All right. So this is not about blaming anyone from our childhood. The core wounds are beliefs that whisper things like, I'm not good enough. I don't belong here. Or I'll always be abandoned. And abandoned could mean emotional or physical. Though they may have originated, those core wounds may have originated from past events. They truly do continue to affect us today, influencing our choices, relationships, and self-worth. You can imagine with me for a moment, carrying around this invisible weight, one that you may not even realize is there, but it affects you every aspect of your life. That's the power of the core wound. But there's good news in it. By acknowledging and healing these wounds, you can start to break free from those limiting beliefs. Over the course of a year, when Divine was giving me this healing process, this healed process, and I was going in and feeling where those core wounds were, how they were affecting me in every aspect of my life, there was numerous times I would say to my husband while I was sharing things with him, I'd be like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that that thought was connected to that belief and how it's affecting me now. Maybe you're there. Maybe you're like, what? This is really affecting me. It's true. And we don't want it. We don't want it to limit what you're creating and how you're living your life and the relationships you have. No way. So, how do these core wounds show up in our lives? Often, they manifest as patterns we can't seem to shake, like self-doubt, fear of rejection, people pleasing, or even sabotaging our own success. Can you feel me on this one? Have you ever done any of these? And if you're honest with yourself, you're more than likely you have. I know I have. I know I sabotaged my own success. I know I people pleased. I knew that I had fear of rejection and self-doubt. Oh, yeah. And we might even find ourselves in repetitive cycles, wondering why certain things just won't change despite our best efforts. But here's the reason. As long as these wounds go unhealed, they keep us stuck, almost like a story we're unknowingly reliving over and over again. Breaking free means rewriting that story, one where we're no longer defined by past hurts or old beliefs. Instead, we can start living from this place of strength and self-acceptance, fully able to embrace who we really are. I want to share a story with you. It's Anna's story. And while I share it, see if you can relate to Anna. So Anna had been a perfectionist. She had always been chasing approval and validation. And she knew from a young age she was praised for being the good one in her family, the one who kept everything in order, made everyone proud. But behind her accomplishments was a constant fear of failure, an exhausting need to prove herself over and over again. As she moved into adulthood, that fear continued to follow her. It shaped her relationships, her career, and even her choices about how she spent her time. She didn't want to waver too far off of the plan. So even when she would be going to the store, she wanted to be the good one. So she would follow exactly what she said that she would do. But it didn't give her the freedom because she was doing it out of validation and acceptance by her loved ones. She found herself saying yes when she wanted to say no, working late hours to ensure that everyone noticed her efforts. And then she felt a weight of guilt anytime that she thought of doing something just for herself. Anna was living a life built around expectations, not her own desires. So one evening, after a particularly tough day, she looked into the mirror and found a profound emptiness. She realized she didn't even know what she truly wanted or who she was beyond the roles she was playing. She had been defined by her fear of letting others down for so long that she had forgotten how to live for herself. That night, as she looked into the mirror, she promised herself something would change. And it began small, journaling about moments in her life when she felt the most authentic, the most at peace. And she traced those memories back to passions and dreams that had been buried beneath her need to please others. Gradually, she started making decisions that aligned with what she truly wanted. A career change, boundaries in her relationships, and time for things that made her feel alive, even if it meant disappointing others. And my friend, that takes a lot of work and dedication and commitment to that promise that she made for herself. But for the first time, Anna was rewriting her story. She was no longer the good one who followed everyone else's script. She was the real Anna, the one with unique dreams and goals, shaped by her past, but not limited by it. She had found her strength not in pleasing others, but in standing firm in who she really is. Celebrating her. As she embraced this new chapter, Anna felt a sense of lightness and peace she had never known. Do you want that? She realized that breaking free meant she could finally live a life on her own terms, free from the chains of beliefs. And in that freedom, she found herself fully whole, fully accepted. I have a question for you. Is it time for you to heal and rewrite your story? I love her. I love how she has overcome her past and have freed herself. And I want that for you. Identifying your core wound is the first step towards healing. To do this, start by looking at reoccurring patterns in your life. Asking yourself, are there certain fears, doubts, or feelings that come up repeatedly, especially in challenging situations? Maybe you notice that you pull away from people when they get close or when you get close, or you have a hard time believing in your worth. Pay attention to the stories you tell yourself and any underlying emotions tied to them. I would even write them out. I like seeing things visually, so it's just out of my head and onto paper. Writing out those repeated fears and doubts, and then seeing where those emotions are in those beliefs, fears, and doubts. Another key indicator can be your triggers. And triggers are those moments when something someone says or does stirs up some big emotional reaction. I'm emotional. I'm an emotional being, and I have big emotions. And so those are good indicators for me because I am emotional. I don't know if you are or not. And often our reactions aren't just about that moment of what's happening right in that moment. They're about something deeper, a wound that hasn't been fully healed. And I can say by tuning in, you can start to trace these reactions back to their root causes, revealing what your core wound might be. Now, I've got numerous documents and exercises. I especially have the Discover Your Core Wound quiz. So there are resources for you to help reveal that core wound to you, for you to start that process. Once you've identified your core wound, healing becomes possible. This is the foundation of the healed process. Going inward, understanding your wounds, and choosing to rewrite the beliefs that have held you back. Healing core wounds isn't always easy. It isn't. It was a lot. But each layer you uncover brings you closer to freedom and joy and a stronger connection to your true self. I want this for you. I wanted it for me. I have it for me, and I want it for you too. And it's important to remember that healing is a process. Give yourself grace, knowing that each step forward, no matter how small, is a powerful act of self-love. Now, to start your journey, I've created the Discover Your Core Wound quiz. This is a quick 2-minute quiz, and it is designed to give you insight into the wounds that may be shaping your life and to help you identify what might be holding you back. By knowing your core wound, you'll have that first piece of the puzzle. And from there, you can begin your healing journey. And you can find the quiz linked in the episode description, or head over to sarahsparks.love/healed, and it will pop up as one of your freebies. This could be your first step to uncovering a version of yourself that's free from the past and open to everything you truly deserve. Thank you for joining me today on the Healed Process podcast. I hope you enjoyed Honest Story and understanding the core wound a little bit better. Remember, identifying your core wounds is not just about understanding your past. It's about reclaiming your future. Healing is possible. And with each layer you uncover, you're building a life aligned with your true self. I want that freedom for you. Emotional freedom. If you're ready to take that first step, don't forget to check out the Discover Your Core Wound quiz. It's a powerful tool to help you start your journey towards freedom and self-empowerment. So stay tuned for more episodes as we dive deeper into each stage of the healed process. Until next time, remember, healing is not only possible, it's your birthright.